So Odell Beckham to the Cowboys has really heated up this past 2 weeks. And the Cowboys have been looking for a receiver pretty much this whole, not this whole season, but they've been a little bit thin, and they've been looking for just one more acquisition throughout this whole year. And Odell Beckham has always been there, in the background. And when the trade deadline came up, they tried to make a push for Brandon Cooks. That one didn't really work in. They had their hand in. They dabbled a little bit with Jerry Jeudy. That one fell through. So they just quite didn't get that receiver. And after the trade deadline, Stephen Jones had an interview with the Dallas Cowboys media and said this.
With our team, and just because you don't make a trade doesn't mean, that's not the only way you acquire players.
And it makes you wonder, it's like, is he talking about Odell Beckham? Free agency? The only biggest, you guys were just going after receivers, and the biggest name right now in free agency is Odell Beckham. Then, earlier this week, Ian Rappaport calls that the Dallas Cowboys are heavily interested on Odell Beckham, which spices it up a little bit, and you don't know as if it's Jerry just talking, or the Cowboys are testing their waters, or if they just made a little offer on him, but they're not too serious. But then, earlier today, Jerry Jones doubles down on it. And I'm paraphrasing here, but he basically said Odell Beckham would look good in a Cowboys helmet. Which is like, okay, Jerry, Jerry likes, let's count for what it is. Jerry likes talking and likes people talking about the Cowboys. But usually Jerry doesn't really, the Cowboys aren't really talked about in a free agency light, or for big names and going after big names in free agency. Cowboys are talked about a lot, but in those areas, rarely are they talked about. And the last time they really had a big name free agency sign was when they signed in 2012, signing Brandon Carr. And before that, 2006 with Terrell Owens. The Cowboys are not known for making free agency moves at all. But these rumors have really spiced up. And I don't know. I honestly do not know if Jerry will make the pull, if Steven will pull the trigger on it. And I don't know if Odell wants to be a Cowboy. You just don't know, because you got the high contenders with the Bills, which seems like he's got his best friend Von Miller on the team. They seem like the really likelihood of him going, but this past week has really made you question, like, okay, is there really a great chance of him coming to the Cowboys? And all this talk has, it's gotten people talking. And I was looking, and the majority of the criticism, or the negative side of the Cowboys signed Odell, I'm seeing is, one, he's coming off another injury, another ACL tear. You just don't know what he's going to be like after an injury, or just his health-wise and staying healthy, Who's to say that we sign him and he gets hurt again, It's back-to-back years where he's had major injuries. I also saw the age popping up a lot. People saying, even after this latest injury, that he just doesn't quite have it anymore. And the last major negative that I've been seeing is he's going to tear the locker room up. I'm seeing that all over. The past 2 years seems like, from the outsider's perspective, that the Cowboys have a really tight locker room. And so people were worried, well, what if Odell Beckham, we saw the fallout he had with the Browns. What if we struggle a little bit? What if the Cowboys struggle a little bit? He starts tearing the locker room apart. So, out of all those three negatives or criticisms or worries with Odell Beckham at the Cowboys signed him, one with the injury. Jerry even said on his interview today, he proved that he could do it last year in the Super Bowl with the Rams. He came off the injury and didn't look phased at all. He showed up, and in the Super Bowl, he might have been the MVP if he didn't get injured. And with the locker room issue, I don't know. It's hard to say, but I honestly do not think, if the Cowboys picked him up, you already have Micah Parsons coming out saying, come on, we want you. I think, honestly, he would be accepted in the locker room, for one, and just, I don't see, even if we did struggle, I don't see him breaking the locker room up. He can't break him up. Even if he tried to break up the locker room or whatever, I just don't see the locker room splitting over one receiver. You know what I'm saying? So let's talk about the positives. He's Odell Beckham. His resume speaks for itself. He has one of the best People argue one of the best catches in NFL history against the Cowboys. Cowboys fans are pretty aware of how good Odell Beckham can be by just seeing him when he was on the Giants. But I mean, prime Odell, he's got the speed, he's got the catchability. You bring in Odell, I mean, the thought is, yeah, Noah Brown and the other receivers might take a little step back in production, but that ain't to say that they won't see the field at all, you know. But bringing them in only helps out CD and Michael, freeing them up. I mean, it makes it even harder for the defenses trying to decide, okay, who are we going to take out? We're going to take CD out, try to take CD out. Okay, that leaves Odell and Michael, you know, or are we going to take Odell out? Okay, that leaves CD and like, you know what I'm saying? So it makes it just even harder. In my eyes, makes our offense more potent. And honestly, another positive is if we pick them up, we take them from any other team, you know. There's a lot of good teams out there. And, you know, there's teams that really want Odell. I mean, we take it and takes him from the Bills. You know, see, for all the Cowboys fans that are kind of worried about Odell, I don't blame you or whatever, or are good with the receiving core as it is. What if Odell went to the Eagles? What would you think? Honestly, what would you think if Odell Beckham went to the Eagles? Me personally, I'd be like, you got to be kidding me. You know, that would be terrible. That would be bad news. Now, if he went to the Bills, it's like, well, geez, the Bills are even getting more stacked. So it's like, what's wrong with him coming here? I get if you bring him in, there's a little bit of worry and stuff, like things could go wrong or whatever. Big free agency signs usually tend to work. I'm not saying it will if the Cowboys do with Odell Beckham. I'm just saying you just never know, and I really think it would do us more good than harm, in my opinion. Now, to wrap this video up, will the Cowboys really do it? Will Odell Beckham really want to go to the Cowboys? I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. Because, you know, even looking at the league after the bye week, the Cowboys look good, you know. We look like we're in good position if we can just keep improving and stacking wins together. And Jerry's even said, you know, our receiving core, we got James Washington coming back. Noah Brown he's been huge for us. And honestly, every opportunity that Noah Brown has gotten, he's made something with it. And you got Jalen Tolbert we just drafted, and he's still a work in progress, but he's getting there, and they're hopeful on him. You know, so it's like, we're not in the worst positions. Like, even if we do not get Odell, we're not in the worst position, you know. And that's what Jerry was saying. We're not in a bad position in receiver in his eyes. But picking up Odell would only help us. Now, will Odell really want to go to the Cowboys? I don't know. He seems interested. But I think he's really scanning out on the league and seeing, all right, who's really the team I want to join here? And the Cowboys, in my opinion, I know I got biased, but I don't think they're a bad choice in his eyes. I mean, they look pretty damn, I mean, it's the Dallas Cowboys, the biggest market. I mean, he could grow his other adventures out, other outside football. But honestly, it just depends on what his values are. If he really wants to win a Super Bowl, I don't think the Cowboys are a bad option either. But, you know, I'm not oblivious here. You got the Eagles, you got the Bills. There's good other teams. I mean, it really all comes down to is what team is going to pay a little more, maybe, or what one Odell really, really wants. I mean, it could be what fits him better personally, what fits him better football-wise. I mean, there's so many factors on who Odell Beckham will go to, and honestly, I think, as we hear, Jerry's putting out an offer. You know, they're saying they're interested. So, are they making deals with him? Are they offering him stuff? We don't know, or we don't even know what they're offering him, but it seems that they are. So, honestly, it's just going to come down to is who makes the best deal and what fits best for Odell in his eyes. And it could be the Cowboys. It could be. So, I'm just making this video just thinking what Cowboys fans think, what even fans overall in the league think about, you know, Cowboys picking up Odell Beckham. So, it's interesting. I mean, this is untreaded water for the Cowboys. I mean, this is untreaded water for the Cowboys. So, peace.